afternoon, everyone. Charles Moscowitz here. Welcome to the program. I'm like many people. I'm sort of tied up at home due to the coronavirus, and so I'm taking this opportunity to do a little experiment in live broadcasting. And one aspect of that is that I am welcoming callers. I don't know if this is going to work, but sure would be interesting if it does. You can call this program live, 617-396-4830. That number again is 617-396-4830. This is Charles Moscowitz doing the program live streamed on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, and several other syndicators. And of course, the program is also live on my own website, which is charlesmoscowitz.com. And that website also includes links to other programs that I like, other YouTube channels, and other talk radio programs, plus articles that change by the hour to keep up with the latest and breaking news, and other listings. So there's lots of information on that website if you'd like to go there. And it's just me, my good old name, Charles Moscowitz, Moscowitz. That's, of course, my radio name. And you're welcome aboard over there. Check it out. So I have thoughts on the coronavirus and how that might be affecting our society. And I would even argue in possibly a good way, if we can understand it. You know, it's like what Rahm Emanuel once famously said. He goes, "Don't let a catastrophe go to waste." And he did not mean that in a good way. He meant that in the old communist way, which is use a catastrophe, use a crisis to promote an agenda. And in their case, that agenda would be the sublimation of individual freedom and national sovereignty, and a move toward world order and collectivism, which in my sense, I'm calling for the opposite. Let's learn some lessons about the coronavirus in a way that we can enhance freedom in the future. When I say this, I just want to put in an immediate and obvious disclaimer in that I am not here to suggest in any way, shape, or form that coronavirus is a good thing. It's not. It's a dangerous disease. People will die. One of the reasons that I am staying home is because I'm of the age group that is slightly at risk. I feel that I'm in pretty good health, but, with health, you never know. It can change quickly. So, I'm trying to reduce my exposure to the coronavirus. I have a daughter who is coming home from her semester abroad this weekend, and hopefully everything will go well, because there has just been a ban of travel from Europe into the United States. She's in Europe, and she will be properly screened at the airport. She has to be in the United Kingdom, which is exempted. She'll be screened at the airport, and she'll come home and immediately be sort of, I guess you'd say, quarantined for 14 days in the home with my wife and I. So, we're anticipating her arrival. We're nervous about it, of course. But once she's home and safe, and, we're going to have her put her clothes in a bag and shower. My wife is very vigilant about these sorts of things. She's walking around the house, spraying everything and washing, and certainly a lot more vigilant than I am. And I don't mean that in a critical way. I mean, I should be more vigilant. But, I've kind of curtailed my activities right now, as have a lot of people. I mean, my Uber and Lyft driving is not happening. I'm not going to go out and do that until things get better. And my college has been canceled. So, I figured, why not spend a little time focusing on broadcasting and developing, my podcasting. And so here I am. My thoughts are that the positive aspect of coronavirus, if there is any, and there's, again, not the virus itself, but I'm talking politically, is that on an international level, and with regard to the United States and its position with the rest of the world, the coronavirus reinforces and promotes the importance of sovereignty, not just political national sovereignty, but individual sovereignty, the ability of the individual, the right, the natural right of the individual to maintain maximum control over their own life, over their own environment, and thus over their own future. And when we do that as individuals, when we do things that used to come natural to Americans, like preparedness, like maintaining a stockpiling of provisions, to deal with a crisis, when we quarantine ourselves from exposure to others out of caution. Those are normal, natural things to do. And most Americans over time have not that they've forgotten it, but they've put it off as somehow anachronistic and old-fashioned, and that we don't have to do that anymore because we're all part of a global community. And this virus reminds us that we do have to do that because we have to do it to survive, and because it's the natural thing to do, and it's in fact the moral thing to do. That there is a virtue to maintaining that control over your own life. And that, of course, the national home, the government, whether that be the national government or the state government or your local community government, it's their job to act on behalf of all of us. That's why we elect people. We give them a limited grant of power to operate within a constitutional framework to represent our interests. And it is our interest to put our own nation first, in the same way that we put ourselves first, that we put our own family first. Not because we're better than anyone else. I'm not putting my family first because I think my family is better than the family that lives down the street. I'm doing it because it's in my self-interest to do it. I'm doing it because it is the normal, natural thing to do. I'm doing it in the same reason why the animal kingdom does it. The bird protects its nest. The beaver protects its dam. This is part of being alive. You protect yourself and your family first. And thus we expect our nation to protect the national home first. And so when you have President Trump banning travel from China right away back in January and South Korea, and when you have President Trump now putting a ban on travel from Europe, because Europe is the new epicenter of the disease, and the ban is for 30 days, he is putting the interests of his nation and the citizens of his nation first. And that is a normal, natural thing to do. And so this event reminds us of the importance and indeed the progressive nature of sovereignty. National sovereignty, state sovereignty, local sovereignty, and individual sovereignty. That this is a good thing, that this is actually consistent with biblical ideas, and for good reason, because this is what God saw as the mandate of the individual, the man and the woman that he created in his image, to function as conscious, sovereign, self-directed people who, by controlling their own lives and their own destinies, they can do good in the world. The second thing that I see coming out of the coronavirus that is a good effect politically. And by the way, let me just once again give out the phone number. You're welcome to join the program. 617-396-4830. Come on down, join the show. 617-396-4830. We're live right here, but of course we'll be archived as well. The second factor that I see as a positive development in the coronavirus was laid out again by President Trump in his brief comments last night on national television, and that is that he is asking Congress to put an extension on the filing of taxes, which of course traditionally is April 15th. and thus allowing Americans to keep more of their money for a longer period of time, which not only stimulates the economy, but it helps people get through this difficult time. A lot of people are staying home, such as myself, so you're not having income. And he wants a payroll reduction, a payroll tax reduction, which leaves more money in the pockets of the earners. It particularly helps working people, the working lower class, working middle class, to deal with the vicissitudes of this crisis. He's asking for an extension in leave time pay, which again is good for workers. It puts money in people's pockets. He's asking the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates further, which means that we can borrow money more easily. We can, thus secure loans more easily at a time when credit is needed. And there are other measures as well to ease the economic blows that will inevitably come about from this crisis, whether the crisis is short-term or longer term. This is all on top of President Trump's policies already economically, which have favored the right of the individual and the small business owner and the family. And those are things that reverberate in the broad sense what federal government can do, such as maintaining lower taxes and a tax cut, which leaves more income in the pockets of people, reducing onerous and unnecessary and duplicate type regulation of business, which makes it easier for businesses to start and expand, and that helps with employment. And engaging in renegotiating trade agreements with other countries that help favor American industry and American labor. That includes a rewriting of the NAFTA agreement, an agreement with China that allows for a moderate tariff on Chinese imports, and protection of intellectual property and contracts for farmers. It means not doing the Pacific trade, the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would have been hurtful to American labor and American business, and other same such measures, asking foreign governments to pay for their own defense, such as NATO members, getting rid of the climate agreement, which didn't do anything to help improve the atmosphere or stop air pollution. All it did was transfer billions of dollars to some international faceless bureaucrats, and other measures which are favorable to American economy, American industry, American labor, and American advancement. And I suppose that in the broad sense, from the coronavirus, we can conclude that because of this crisis, we can get by better without heavy government and heavy taxes. We can see, government agencies and government officials not going to work, staying home, working from home. Do we need this huge, massive government infrastructure? Maybe we could get by with a smaller government. President Trump is cutting aspects of the government, which is good. By the way, it was a hoax to say that he'd cut the Centers for Disease Control. That's not true. That agency remains funded as it was and should be. But there are other areas which can receive some cuts and some reductions. That's a good thing, to reduce the size, the scope, and the power of government agencies over aspects of our lives which had previously been under the purview of ourselves as self-governing sovereign individuals. So those two areas, the assertion of sovereignty, national sovereignty on an international scale, and then state sovereignty and local sovereignty with governments engaging in activities that are in the interests of their citizens, and the economic measures to help people deal with an economic potential crisis that includes reducing taxes and leaving more currency, more money in the pockets of earners. These two things are lessons that can be learned from the coronavirus that are positive lessons, that are lessons that the more we can think about them, the more we can discuss them, then we can gain something from this terrible disease. And again, I'm not saying this because I think that this is good. Hardly. I think it's horrible that it happens this way. This is just the way it is. There's nothing any one of us can do about it. We're dealing with a crisis that is beyond our control. All we can do besides stay healthy and take all the necessary precautions, and we all know what those are at this point, is to take a look politically at what can be gained. And, I'm going to just sign off, and I don't mean this to sound self-serving, but, I have a coronavirus page on my website, that being charlesmoscowitz.com, and on that page, I make different recommendations for various products. And one of those products is this thing called Stem Enhance Ultra. I'm going to hold that up for a second here. I'm taking this. You're supposed to take 4 times a day. I take twice. But what it does is it's for people like myself, mainly, who are over 60. And it is a natural stem cell product that stimulates the release of and the growth of stem cells. Because when you get to be over 60, your body produces less and less stem cells. And I am only mentioning it because I personally will attest, here it is. I personally will attest to this product as being excellent. I'm not making it up. I feel better since I started taking it. And I think that it is doing, for me, what it claims to do. Now, I'll put a disclaimer and say that stem cell, which is completely natural, it's not in any way synthesized or there's no chemicals. It's a natural substance that's apparently has been discovered in, of all places, Oregon. That the stem cells do not help everyone, and it is a little expensive. So, this is no like panacea, but it helps a lot of people, and it's helping me, and it's helping others, and I think it helps most people to take it. So, if you're interested in Cerul's Stem Cell Ultra, check out my website, charlesmoscowitz.com. Go to my coronavirus page, and you'll see a link to it, and you're welcome to check it out. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Charles Moscowitz here. Have a great afternoon. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Be careful.